I'm a big fan of old world creative management sims along the lines of Dawn of Man. That game did scratch this itch of mine a few years ago, but since then I've been on the lookout for something with a similar vibe. Recent release Ancient Farm caught my eye. It's a Playway title, and if you know Playway, you already know the kind of gameplay we're in for as we plough our way to greatness. On the surface, Ancient Farm is about building a thriving Egyptian farming empire. In reality, it all boils down to your character's one true ambition in life, building a temple. Not family, forget friends. Even a village to grow old in, nope, just a temple thanks. We've apparently abandoned society, wandered out into the desert, and committed entirely to this divine calling, that sweet, sweet temple. But to get there, we're gonna have to farm, and farm hard. So, exactly how much farming does it take to build a temple? That's what I'm here to find out. We're starting with absolutely nothing, which honestly, this is a bit of a refreshing change for this sort of game. There's no conveniently deceased relative has left us a wreck of a farm we've got to build up or anything like that. But we are going to have to collect a lot of materials before we can start farming. That begins by creating a workshop, and this is where we'll make the various tools we'll need. No repair mechanism in ancient farming, so we are reliant on always having materials and coming back here to the workshop to craft new tools whenever one wears out. Next is crafting workbenches to make planks, stone blocks and clay bricks. We will need an abundance of these to craft certain tools and also to create the various buildings that make up the farm. We'll need to do a lot of cutting down trees, picking up sticks and mining rocks to feed these machines. None of this is automated, so standing in front of the crafting machines waiting for this stuff is a part of the gameplay. Plan is, once these are done, I'm going to go out and obliterate the local environment, mine for days, gather boatloads of materials now, and I won't have to keep doing this continuously through the game. One really important thing, and it's not covered in the tutorial, is storage. After the workshop, this should be your first build. This is the only way to store items, and if your inventory fills up, anything you drop doesn't land on the ground, it just gets deleted. Ask me how I know this. Yeah, so anything I don't need immediately gets put in the box. That's a starting layout. Next is making the clearing. Behold, ancient Egypt's first environmental disaster. In my defense, it was in the way. Let me show you what I've got. Hours of gathering has paid off. We have an abundance of raw materials now. This should last a good long while. That is all the preparation I need. I can finally start farming. Our little small hold, it's about to get much bigger. So let's get on with that. Basics of farming, it's not rocket science. Craft a hoe, start digging the land. Plots work well as a 5x5 square. That's the biggest size some of the later equipment goes to, and it makes life easier to keep it this size. 4 plots, probably all we need right now. Want to cycle the trader, who I'm calling Bob the Boatman for no other reason than I think he looks like a Bob. Bob shows up on the river with his entourage, and you can buy seeds, animals and other various farming things from him. He's not cheap. Got 25 lettuce, it's an easy plant to grow, and all we can afford after that is about 15 wheat. So thanks Bob, I've now got no money. Plant, 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 plant. Plant, 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 plant. Watering plants is an experience. It's all on you. Use a special pot to water crops. We'll be crafting hundreds of these probably. Like clockwork, plants get thirsty at the turn of a new cycle, all at once and everywhere. Let me get the pot. This does get easier, but it's pretty rough at the start. Now we fast forward time through the cycles until the plants mature, and when they do, we're on to harvesting. Efforts pays off. We've got some lettuce, and not far behind we also have some wheat. Wheat's quite fun. There's an extra step, milling. We've got a hefty amount of wheat grain here, and this needs to be milled into flour. Ooh, look at it go. Almost hypnotic, this one. That's given us a nice amount of flour, and normally you'd turn this into bread, but we don't have anywhere to make bread yet, so this is going to go to Bob, and this will fund us the coin we need to get a house schematic. We'll need that to build our home, and that will give us the ability to cook meat and bake bread. Our humble abode. Let me give you the tour. This is the dining area we never use. Maybe because we forgot the roof. I kid, it's probably historically accurate before someone mentions that in the comments. Also, a couple of beds we never use, we don't sleep, nobody else lives here, we're in solitary confinement. Anyway, this is all cosmetic. The real reason we've built the house is for this stuff. Cooking! Now we can make a bunch of bread and sell that to Bob. Built up a surplus of flour over several seasons, giving us a good volume of bread to make and sell. Prices do drop incrementally the more you sell, so repeatedly selling the same product, that's not a good strategy, but stockpiling and selling off in one bulk lot like this, that can see big returns. That's got us enough coins to afford the bakery schematic, and we'll need that if we want to eventually make the fancier baked goods. So, time to make the bakery. Let's see how this goes. Can't make any of the products in here yet, but it's given us an idea what crops we need to grow next. Gourmet bread is the next goal, and for that we need figs and onions. Let's get planting. So figs are a fruit tree, and they need a lot of room first of all. The fruits work a bit different to the crops. These will take an awfully long time to grow and be harvestable, but they'll produce fruits for many cycles, unlike the crops, which are just a one and done. That's the prep done to make gourmet bread eventually, but we'll have to wait a long time for the figs. So in the meantime, we can grill meat in the house, so I'm thinking it's time to get some cows. Put the pasture down, and then it's off to Bob to see about the cows. Let's see, animals and a cow. Ooh, cows are very expensive. Right, so we can get a cow, but that is going to use up all of our monies. Thanks, Bob. Now we're skint again. Hope this is worth it. Right, in you go. Let's have a look at you. Oh, cute. 15 cycles until slaughter, so we'll be a while before we get meat. Feeding animals is pretty simple. They'll want hay, which you make on the thatch crafting station from grass. Then drop this into the feeding trough and water in the water trough, which they'll consume 1 unit of at the start of each new cycle. Originally, the tutorial had me feeding animals by hand with a weird water bottle sort of thing and literally throwing food in their face. Filling up the troughs is way easier, so I wonder if the tutorial was pulled together when troughs weren't implemented yet, because I can't think why hand feeding is a thing when you can leave them to feed themselves. Okay, cow, this isn't going to be easy for either of us. We've waited patiently for 15 cycles, but the time has come. You've grown big and delicious, and whilst I have enjoyed your company for a while, it is unfortunately time for us to part ways. May your sacrifice help us turn a profit and get closer to affording the temple schematics. Cows are processed on the beef slaughterhouse crafting table, so we've got 1 cow that has provided 9 meat. Our 1 cow has gifted us 36 meat, and no extra steps, we can prepare this straight away in the kitchen. Let's cook this up and see how many steaks we get from this. Right, Bob, how much are you going to give me for some fresh and juicy grilled steak? Not bad. Got enough coin now to get another schematic. Let's go for brewing. This will mean we can make both coffee and beer. Just don't drink it at the same time, that's probably not very nice. Onwards and upwards, we can now brew. So let's see what we can do with this. Ooh, coffee. Wait, coffee needs sugarcane? Okay. Fruity beer, that needs grapes and figs. Already got figs on the go, so good. And last but not least, plain old beer. Great. Our first figs are ready for harvest, and do you know what that means? We can make gourmet bread. Had to get salt from Bob to make this, so I'm hoping we get a good return on it. 18,000 coins? That's not bad at all. Next is sorting out what we need to make the coffee. So sugarcane, still not happy about needing sugar for coffee, but hey ho, that's just personal preference. Unlike the other crops, sugarcane's planted on the water's edge, and that is a bit fiddly to work out. Very fussy with its placement. But at least it doesn't need watering every cycle. I've also planted some date palms, which I'll need in the future to make fancy crackers in the bakery. And I've tested out growing some hemp to make and sell hemp fibre. Like the wheat, this needs an extra step, so it's processed on a spinning wheel. You get a bumper crop from the hemp, so just 1 field. That's produced me over 200 fibres. And that's a really good return for not much work. Immediately invested most of my profit in a couple of olive trees, which we'll need for olive oil. That's another ingredient needed for crackers, so just planning really for future cooking. Lots of waiting for stuff to grow now. Let's see how the dates are doing. 5 cycles to go, almost there. Ooh, coffee beans are ready. We can finally brew coffee. Let's get you harvested and we can try out the roasting machine. Here goes, sugary coffee concoction incoming. I'm going to call this coffee syrup, not actual coffee. We're ruining a good roast here. I think it's time to prep for more advanced meals, and chicken is a good starter for 10 for that. Way cheaper than the cows, and we can have 12 of these little guys in the same enclosure. So, let's see. Only with us for 5 cycles? Well then, that's good. Definition of fast food there. Onions are ready. That's almost everything we need for fancy crackers. And planting some apricots in preparation for a tasty chicken meal. Not doing too bad at all now. We've got loads of fruit trees on the go. It is time to up our game. We're ready for the advanced kitchen. This opens up a host of new cooking recipes, the ones I'm interested in specifically. Roast chicken in orange sauce, that's why I've been rearing chickens for a while. And what I consider an aspirational target, gourmet stew. It's time, we're ready to harvest the chickens, so... Thank you, chicken. Thank you, chicken. Your meat will soon be infused with citrus. For the fancy stew, we need both pork and beef, so let's build ourselves a pigsty. Hello, piggies. Welcome to the farm. Olives are finally ready for harvesting. These have taken ages. Now we can process this into olive oil. Olive oil is quite expensive because you need to purchase salt to do it, and you also need water. Hopefully worth the effort. We can use the olive oil to make crackers in the bakery, hoping for a decent return on the cracker bread. I'm sorry, chicken. It's all in the name of good food. Barley's ready for harvest. That means we can start brewing beer for beer. So the beer equivalent of adding the sugar to coffee then. Food chest is getting very full. Better be getting a good payout from Bob for all this effort. Today is a monumentous day. The apricots have ripened. That means we can finally make our orange chicken. Chicken meat's been sat in the chest for weeks. Sorry, maturing for weeks. You do mature meat, don't you? Although, not sure if that works with chicken. Hey ho, it's salmonella enhanced orange chicken. Oink oink oink, oink oink oink. Oink. Pork is processed for the gourmet stew, but still nowhere near ready for that. We need more beef. Cows are really expensive. We can get 4 of these in a pen, so yeah, once again, this is going to wipe out our funds. Bob has taken all of our monies for cows. Well, in you go then. I'll be seeing you in 15 cycles, and we'll be making that expensive and weird mixed meat stew. Been fast forwarding through the growing cycles and letting our beef mature here, so hey, stop pushing me. As I was saying, cows are ready to harvest. Thank you, cow. Thank you, cow. Thank you, cow. And thank you, cow. Time to see if our strategy of stockpiling leads to a big payout. We've got a boatload of beer, chicken, coffee and fruit beer to sell, and I think this is the moment of truth. Bob, we haven't always agreed on your pricing strategy, hoping it goes both ways. So fruit beer, ooh, that's not bad. Okay, what will you give me for coffee syrup? Oh, all is forgiven, 32,000. What about mature chicken with the aged mass behind a citrus flavour? Another 32. Bob, you're loaded. Finally, bog standard beer. Yeah, about what you'd expect. That's a great haul though. Do you know what this means? We can afford to buy all 3 of the temple schematics. Everything we've been doing on our farm was in preparation for this. All that planting, watering, butchering animals. Living in isolation for years at this point. All we ever wanted is a temple of our very own, and today we are one big step closer to our goal. We've been waiting a while, but we're ready for this. Let's see what it's gonna take to build the temple. Oh, it's very big. I should have expected that. I was gonna put it in the middle of the plant here, but no way that's gonna fit. We'll have to go behind the farm. Can't see it very well through the trees here. Hate to waste stuff, but think I'm gonna have to remove the apricot trees. They'll be blocking the view of our glorious temple. Can't have that, it needs maximum visibility at all times. Right, the big question, what materials are needed to build this? Okay, more the usual, but wool, we don't have that. And papyrus sedge? Right, back to Bob then. We spent most of our money on salt to make olive oil and crackers, so not a lot left. Big question, have we got enough left for sheep? Let's see. Okay, looks like, yeah, we can afford 5. So let's get this sheep pasture in and welcome little sheep. So you need wool to make the temple. But looking at the description here, we can't just harvest wool through shearing or something, no. We have to slaughter the sheep when the wool is ready. I'm sorry, sheep. Yes, I don't get it either. We should be able to shear it off. Next on our to-do list, plant the papyrus grass. Like the sugarcane, this needs planting on the edge of the river. All planted, now we have to wait 6 cycles and hopefully we have enough. Thinking about this gap in the middle, we should plant something fancy in here as an offering to the temple. Have a think about that. Taking an age to press olives and spending all of my money on salt, we're finally ready to make gourmet crackers. Better late than never. So here goes, gourmet crackers for everyone. Another milestone while we wait to build the temple, I have the ingredients to make the epic stew. Had to run a few cycles planting lettuce because apparently stew needs lettuce, okay? This is making me massively overweight, but we can get a huge number of stews out here. So here goes, mixed meat gourmet stew. Right, Bob, this might be our last engagement. I'm bringing you stews and crackers, and in return, I'd like all your monies, please. Wow, that's good. And plain crackers, 35. Now the big one, gourmet stew, 82,000. What a day. Last but not least, bog standard stew, bringing our grand total to almost 185,000 coins. Bob, it's been a pleasure today, but we've got other business to deal with. Papyrus is ready for harvest and the sheep are ready for slaughter. Yes, I know it's not fair, I don't get it either, but think of it this way, you're making a glorious sacrifice for the great temple. So sorry. Sorry, sheep. I'm sorry. It's for the greater good. Greater good. So here we are, gathered everything we need to build our temple, and we have a bountiful harvest of the very best fruits and vegetables to offer in its honour. It's not been easy, and it's taken 7 years to get here. May the gods bless us with their praise for this. It's the grand moment of truth. Here goes. That's the central section. Looking good. Now for the left side. And finally, the right side. Ooh, a message. Gods have looked upon you with favour. Devotion has been rewarded. Temple rises proudly in the sky. Yes, it does. And your fields are rich with harvest. Yep. And your livestock provides abundance for the entire settlement. Wait, what settlement? It's just me and Bob. No matter. The great deed is done. We've figured out what it takes to build the temple. A lot of farming, let's put it that way. Right, let's talk about a reward. Let's have a look inside. Oh no. We're not allowed in? No. Oh, no way. We can't get into the temple after all that. That is perfect. Thank you, game. Really enjoyed that. So yeah, that's Ancient Farm. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next video.